Hello everyone, it's Sal, Stretford Post. How you all doing? And welcome to another episode of Breaking Dawn. Good morning, it's Friday again. Good morning everyone, I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the stream, guys. Before I start, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and smash a like on the video. That'd be absolutely fantastic, guys. I know it's been a bit of a slumber 24 hours. I know it's been a bit of a miserable one. I think we all feel the same. I think we all feel pretty down. We felt pretty down over the last 24 hours. You know, unfortunately, this is the nature of sport, and so you win some, you lose some. I know we're losing a lot at the moment, but you know what we have to do is gather together as a fan base and understand that, you know what, we have to make those on top accountable. It isn't just INEOS. This is a Glazer thing. Lots of people are talking about INEOS. I'm tired of seeing that. I want to see the Glazers, because the Glazers are the ones who sign the checks at Manchester United. They're still the ones. Joel Glazer is still heavily involved in the doings at Manchester United, as he was with the sacking of Erik ten Hag when they had that little meeting in Manchester. Joel Glazer was present in that little meeting when they ended up deciding to keep Erik ten Hag at that time. So it's very important that we hold everyone accountable. Look, I'm not looking at the manager. I think that's just foolish. I think some people are flirting on that little side about, you know, I'm not hammering him in, I'm not hammering him out, but, you know, I'm fed up with that business, man. I'm fed up with all that business. We've been here before. I've told you, I said it on the short video today, that, you know, sacking managers is not the answer. If the club is rotten from the top, you know, it's going to resonate to the bottom. And I sound like a broken record, but this is how business works in every single institution in the world. If it's broken at the top, it's more or less going to be reflect at the bottom as well. It's going to reflect on the pitch all the way to the top. So at the end of the day, you know, we're hearing things about players have been talking out about tactics now. Oh, we've heard that before, haven't we? I mean, you know, we've all seen that before. Players talking out. I wonder where that came from. You know, I wonder where that, you know, at the end of the day, this has been going on for a long time, guys. These players, when they want to talk, they talk. They've talked against Erik ten Hag, Louis van Gaal. Didn't they say they didn't like going home in the dark? Didn't they say that? Didn't these players say that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tactics were like a schoolboy teacher? Didn't they say that? We've all heard all that business, haven't we? But we don't fall for that rubbish. We shouldn't be falling for that rubbish, because we've been repeated. The same cycle is repeating. So why are we falling for that nonsense? Why are people entertaining it? Why are people posting it in my WhatsApp groups? Like, you know what, trying to flirt with it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, because, oh, look at he said, you know, you're secretly planting a seed here that you're Ruben Amorim out. I'm not here for vibes. I'm not here to diss the football club, to make fun of the football club, to make fun of Ruben Amorim. I'm not here for stupid little videos. I'm here for the football club. Do you know what I mean? I'm not here for a little back chat. I'm not here for little kiddie little things that go on behind the scenes. I love this football club for 40 years. You know, I'm not here to listen to these players that, you know, have serially underachieved, if that is even a word. Serially is a good word. They have serially underachieved for many, many years now. And people say, oh, but Sal, this is a different team. Culture, addiction, pass it down like generations. I give you an example. Everton, right? Their culture is losing, right? And that comes from generations. Our culture used to be about winning. Now it's about being banter. You know, if anything came out of the final against Tottenham Hotspur, if anything came out against the final against Tottenham Hotspur, is that it is a big, huge wake-up call for INEOS. If they have not been waking up already, this is the wake-up call for them. Now, I know many people don't want to trust INEOS, and I get it. I don't trust INEOS. I didn't. I told you guys I wanted Qatar. I told you what I wanted. I wanted this. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you know, we have to wait and see what they do this summer. But they should be held accountable, not Ruben Amorim, right? They should be held accountable. Ruben Amorim made mistakes. Managers make mistakes. Alex Ferguson made mistakes. He made mistakes in many finals, twice against Barcelona in the Champions League final, right? Twice. Right? I remember him making mistakes in 1995 in FA Cup finals. You know, I remember him making mistakes in 2005 in FA Cup finals. I remember him making a mistake, you know, in Europa League, in the UEFA Cup at the time against Rotor Volgograd and teams like that. I remember him making these mistakes. Managers make mistakes. But what we have to do as a fan base together, we have to understand that, yes, Ruben Amorim shouldn't be totally exempt from criticism, but he is not the problem. He is not the problem. You know, he's not. I mean, people, this is the problem with people. People these days like to find a scapegoat. They like to find one player or one manager, you know, and say that is the problem. They don't like looking at what's above because they can't see it. So they can't see what's above. So they go, what they can see on the television, that's what they're going to blame. Thank you for joining me, guys. Let me read through some of your comments. Hope you're all doing well. Morning, Freya. What's going on, my friend? Hope you're good, my friend. Good to see you. Good morning, Pearl. Hope you're good. I'm still over the worst Man United fan, but I mean, I've seen worse. What INEOS is doing immediate after there seems to be laughable. Can't trust what they're doing in the next summer. Everything at the level, again, it's the Glazers, isn't it? They sign the checks. Level at Man United is just untrustful for me. Some are already saying it's unforgivable. Unforgivable. What's unforgivable? What's unforgivable? At the end of the day, lose finals. Teams can lose a final at the end of the day. What I look at is, in this situation about the final, I look at those players. That's what I look at. Those players on the football pitch were good enough to beat Tottenham Hotspur. You know, Tottenham Hotspur had a depleted side. They had their best players. They had Kulusevski, Madison, Bergvall, all were injured. So Man United should have won. I don't put that down. But Ruben Amorim set out a team to win. Ruben Amorim didn't tell Luke Shaw not to mark his near post. Ruben Amorim didn't tell Bruno to give the ball away in the middle of midfield. Ruben Amorim didn't tell Man United players to treat the ball like a hot potato and pass it. Oh, you have it. No, me to you, me to you. He didn't say that, because if you look at Ruben Amorim's history as a manager, winning Sporting Lisbon, their first title in nearly 20 years, you know, becoming unbeaten into Champions League, beating the likes of Man City. I've seen his football. I've seen how his football can work. These players can't do it. These players have a lack of IQ. So what the most important thing is now is for us to evaluate what we do with these players, how we change it, how we change this. And unfortunately, there's going to be a number of players that some people may love that need to leave the football club. Bruno. If we get an offer for Bruno for over 100 million, I'm sorry, we take the money. Bruno has been a great servant to Manchester United, but he's also the guy who was captain of the ship that came 16th. If a ship sinks, who's responsible for that ship? Yeah, there's other people, the maintenance guys and stuff who build the ship, and the maintenance guys who build the ship are at the above, and we know that. But the guy steering the ship to safety, or should I say like that, steering the ship to safety, there you go. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. So all I would say is that what we have to do as a fan base, we hurt, we're all annoyed, we're all disillusioned. I've had my brother, who's a Tottenham fan, on the phone, telling me why I didn't congratulate him. Because Tottenham are shit. And they just sat back and defended, maybe. Don't respect Tottenham. But we ourselves have ourselves to blame, because we couldn't put the ball in the back of the net again. So a lot of those players there in the summer need to be gone. Your Brunos, the captain of the ship, need to be gone. Rasmus, gone. I don't care anymore. Shaw, gone. Lindelof, gone. Eriksson, gone. All gone. It's all gone. It's gone. Casemiro, goodbye. Many players need to leave. Mount, goodbye. Not good enough. Goodbye. I don't want to know anymore. I'm tired of this. Let's feel sorry for this player. You know what? That's a Ruben Amorim type player. He's good for his system. And I don't want to hear anything about that anymore. These players failed when it really mattered. So we move on. And if it was one positive for me, and the positive is not qualifying for the Champions League, because that is not a positive. Because if Man United don't qualify for the Champions League, we miss out on 100 million, which obviously affects our rebuild. And it also gives INEOS an excuse. Wow, we're not in Europe, PSR. FFP, so let's stay away from that. But the one positive that I would say came out of the game against Tottenham Hotspur was the fact that it was a wake-up call. That when it mattered, when it truly mattered, these players were down too. Good morning, Gladiator King. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you, mate. Good to see you. Good morning, Chow. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Good, guys. I understand Garnacho pissed out, but look, every word he said all about himself. He don't think about the team. He's gone. Yeah, I'm going to get into that. Big up, Chow. Garner thinks way too highly of himself. He's not Ronaldo. For goodness sake. We have to obviously speak about that. I'm only one pick to mid-table, if not bottom half, and they finish that season. The teams above us are that good. I'm not going to say anything until the summer's over, Gladiator King. Until I see a transfer window that I think is good enough, then I would say different. If we go into next season and we've only got 2 or 3 signings, my guy, then I'll agree with that. But let's wait and see what happens. This season was a one-off. Hi, Sal. No one is bigger than a club. Everyone should rebuild around Amram players. Absolutely. Big up, Lisa. Morning. I'm not Amram out. It's more like Amram Dow. I'm scared he will fall without 6 or 7 new signings. But then again, Baz, let's go into this, right? Then he will fall. Then the next manager will fall. Then the next manager will fall. Then the next manager will fall, because we're not going to get anything unless we do this rebuild with this manager. I've seen this manager manage. I know he's a good manager. We're going to get another manager. He's going to do the same thing. And then obviously, he's going to foul, not get the signings and blah, blah, blah. And we'll be back here in a year's time. Trust me. He needs his backing. And if we don't back him, then we might as well just pack it in. We might as well just give up, because we might as well just say, right, this board are not going to do anything for this football club. They're not interested in the success. They're interested in a regeneration project. That's all they're interested in. And we just might as well forget about success, because that is what they want us to do, don't they? But we don't. I believe in Ruben Amram. I believe he's the right manager. I don't care what all these fan channels, sensationalist fan channels say. You know what I mean? Who just splurt their garbage on the airwaves. I don't care about that. I just care about what Manchester United do. And for me, the right thing to do is back this manager. And then come 2026, if we are in a bad position in 2026, which I don't think we will be, then we can start asking that question about the doubt and things like that. We need to get away from this reactionary mentality. I've been a fan of this football club, as I've said many times, 88, 89, 1988, 89. I've seen bad times at Alex Ferguson. When people say, I doubt Alex Ferguson, people are making banners about Alex Ferguson, and I stood firm. If people like me didn't stay firm, maybe the board would have been pressured to sacking Alex Ferguson. You know what I mean? I stayed firm and they stayed firm. We all know what happened. Freya, I didn't like what Garner said after the final. Like I said yesterday, look, I don't mind, and I totally agree with Garnacho in some aspect in regards to he wants to play. That's fine. Every player wants to play football. That's normal. I would be worried if these players didn't want to play football. I'd be worried if they were, if they weren't bothered about playing. But my only concern about this is that, again, I talk about culture, and I bang on about culture. Speaking to the media, in particular, ESPN Spain, right? You talk to an outlet like ESPN, who don't like Manchester United, who've been openly critical of Manchester United over many years through success and failure. You're talking to them. Why don't you just go to the manager, man to man, and say, look, Ruben, I'm not happy. I played all these games and you've left me out of the team in my biggest game. Why did you do that? These players have been injured. Why did they play? That is what I would have done with Garnacho. Yes, you know what? I agree with some of what he's saying. He has a point. But at the end of the day, this is the culture that we don't want at Man United. No one is bigger than the football club at the end of the day. And then I bring it into this. None of these players have a right to be talking about whether they should play or whether they shouldn't play. How many of those players, what are those stats of those players in that football team? How many goals has Garnacho scored this season? How many assists has he had this season? None of those players have a leg to stand on when it comes to, wanting to play. If we were top of the league and you were smashing it, you scored endless goals, endless assists, then you can say, well, you know what, he has a point here. He should be playing. And I still think he has a little bit of a point. But the thing is, what I would say is that nobody in that squad has a right to be talking to the manager. Nobody in that squad, nobody has a right to be telling the manager what he should be doing, what he should be doing. But if you believe in what you believe in, then go to the manager and speak up to the manager. Speak to Ruben Amram. Tell Ruben Amram. Don't go to the media. Don't go to this is the problem at Manchester United. We go to the media, we go to social media, we go to Twitter. Exactly what happened with Sancho. Exactly what's happening with Rashford. Exactly what's happening with Cristiano Ronaldo. The same thing over and over again. The culture is poisonous. And that is what I'm talking about. These are the small things that end up being huge things, and they end up disrupting the whole team. Big up, Stephanie. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Sanjay. We must stand and support the manager through bad moments. That is true fans. If you can't support us, get another team. Brilliant, Lisa, and I absolutely agree. Criticism is part of the game, and I will always say that to everyone. We live in a democracy, and criticism is fine. You can criticize the manager. I criticize the manager, but I'm not Ruben Amorim out. Hell no. I'm not Ruben Amorim out, but I would give pointers on where Ruben Amorim went wrong. I did it with Alex Ferguson when Alex Ferguson was manager. I did it with various players, even legends at the football club. I remember sitting at Old Trafford when the likes of Ryan Giggs were getting booed by the Old Trafford crowd. I remember those days, do you know what I mean? For giving away the ball. So, look, I don't think that criticism is a bad thing. I think criticism is a good thing. I think criticism is part of the game. You don't improve without criticism. You know, if I was walking into my house and my wife told me, Sal, you're putting on a little bit of weight, would I go to my wife? No. Would I get defensive? Would I shout at my wife? No, I'd be appreciative of my wife for telling me that I'm putting on weight and that, you know, I need to lose some weight, because that is what it is. Criticism, as long as it's a constructive, as long as it's fair, which it's not. I'm 70 something kilos, guys. I'm not that big, but anyway, but just in case you're wondering. But one thing I would say is that, you know, as long as the criticism is constructive and fair and not abusive, then that is fine. You know, that's fine. It's you know, you don't call people peanut head and bald fraud brigade or Portuguese fraud, what I've heard this week, and ridiculous things like that. Do you know what I mean? You know, and some of it, you know, is xenophobic, you know, about the Portuguese thing and stuff like that. You know, I'd love to know if someone said Nigerian fraud and things like that, what people will be saying. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, there is a line you don't cross. You know, it's an education that you must have, you know what I mean, in regards to criticism. And when you critique things constructively. Do you know what I mean? You critique things in a fair way, you know, and don't just, and also look at things in a context. We know what the problem is this football club. The problem at this football club has been at this football club now for over a decade. We know what, 2 decades, over 2 decades. We know what the problem is at this football club, you know, and we must remember that. You know, but obviously Ruben Amorim's in front of the camera. Let's blame Ruben Amorim. You know, whilst Omar Barada, Wilcox, Jim Ratcliffe, Brailsford, and Vivell all sit behind the scenes and don't say a word. I love to ask Mr. Barada or Mr. Brailsford about his fine lines, the fine margins. I'd love to hear about that. I love to hear about Barada's excellence. Talk about, you know, top best in class and things. I'd love to hear about that right now. You know, I would love to hear about that, because I'm hearing nothing at the moment and I'm just hearing radio silence. And I want to know what's going on. Good morning, Coco. What's going on, my friend? I hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Good to see you. Big up. Who's laughing? Nehemia. Well, if you're going to laugh at something, laugh at that name. Absolutely. Stephanie, I know hindsight is a wonderful thing, but signing a proven goal scorer on loan, even in January, would have helped them both out. And there you go, Stephanie. This is what we're talking about, isn't it? This is what we're talking about. Even a striker you can find in Italy, you can find in France, you can find in Germany, a striker that can score goals. You know, I would go as far to say, Stephanie, and some people will laugh at me. All right, Steph. Some people will laugh at me, but I'll get Ibrahimovic on loan. He will learn something. He'll teach these players something. You know what I mean? I'll get something like that. At least it's character. You know, I'll get something like that. I'll say, Ibra, do you want to come out of retirement? Do you want to play for Man United? You know what I mean? I'll do things like that. At the end of the day, something. You know what I mean? Alex Ferguson got Heinrich Larsson when he was about to retire. You know, and he scored a few goals as well. We all remember. Like you said, big wake-up call for INEOS for time to deliver now. And and this is what it is. And I won't make an accurate, a prediction about the season coming up and until I know what is in the summer, until I know what we got. Cunha is a start. I think they read the room yesterday. I think they knew that announcing Cunha would be a little bit too bait, a bit too obvious. So Cunha will be announced. Obviously, the transfer window opens on the 1st of June to the 10th of June. So business could be done there. We have 2 transfer windows, 1st of June to the 10th of June, and then it closes, then it reopens, I think, in July. And then and then we can do more business. Cunha will be one of those signings that they announce. What I would be doing if I was INEOS right now, listen, I would be on the phone to Gutierrez representatives and I'll be saying, listen, how much do you want? What do you want? Let's get you in. Let's do this. I would be going over the budget in regards to the FFP and PSR. I'll be spending the money that I was going to spend in this January, the next summer, etc., just to improve the football team, because right now we cannot afford to have 2 years out of European football. And I'll be trying my utmost to make sure that we make a statement this summer. That's what I'll be doing. And they should be doing it right now. We should be hearing noises about players leaving now. We are. I mean, Garnacho, but that's because of Garnacho. But you know what? What I would say is that a lot of people are saying, I wouldn't sell Bruno. I would sell another player instead. Bruno's the only one who's going to get us 100 million. You know, and that is it. And then we need to think about that. If we get 100 million into the football club and we're spending on Gutierrez and Cherky and Cunha, it's better, right? It's better. We're building, right? It's built. You have to sometimes have a sacrificial lamb in life, you know, and that means sacrificing someone you may like in order for long-term gain. And I think that's what we need to do. Absolutely. Big up, Leeson. Leeson, this defeat will make us more stronger. It hurt us and it humbled us, Leeson. Losing to Tottenham, I never thought I would see that in a European final. I never thought it would be the day. I never thought I'd see the day. Every single team in football, though, has had embarrassing defeats in their history, and they've moved on from those embarrassing defeats. Real Madrid lost to Aberdeen. You got Barcelona who've lost games in before they became successful and won their first Champions League in 1992. They had a lot of embarrassing moments, you know what I mean, to get to where they are. Now, maybe we need to get to that bottom of the barrel for us to move back up and clean the sides of the barrel as we go up so that we are better run as a football club. Do you know what I'm saying? That's what we need to do. And maybe we need to take this hit. But it's no point taking hits and there's no point me talking unless INEOS go out there and prove to us that they mean business, that they want success on the pitch and they don't just want commercial success and regeneration success, in my opinion. Big up, Darren. What's going on, my friend? I hope you're doing well. I am sad, depressed, Hisham. I think we all a little bit depressed, my friend. But what I would say is that there's a silver lining in everything. And you know what? As we all feel pain at this moment and we all feel sad at this moment, you know, we are Manchester United. We bleed red. We love Manchester United. And with our vibes, our energy, we will get better as a football club. We will grow as a football club and we will be back, guys. And when we are back, it will be far, far more sweeter. You know, it will be far, far more sweeter. You can't appreciate the rain until you've seen the sunshine. You can't appreciate joy until you feel pain, you know, and that is what life is all about. And we're feeling pain right now. Boy, we've been feeling pain all season, but maybe this is a sacrificial lamb in regards to Manchester United as a football club. You know, maybe we give this season, you know, and we witnessed this season, we've experienced this season, and maybe in the next coming seasons, we might look back on this season and think, do you remember the time when we lost to Tottenham? Now look at us. Coco, you're right, Sal. With the level head, if it's 50% on INEOS, 40% on the players, 10% on the manager. Exactly, Coco. About that, yeah. Ferguson said that he lost 9 finals, but he learned from those 9 finals and went on winning 331 finals. Guys, if losing to Tottenham Hotspur meant that we're going to go on and win more, we take it, don't we? At the end of the day, we lost the 1995 FA Cup final, right, to Everton, just after losing the league to Blackburn Rovers a week before. The next season, we won the double, of course, in 1996. In 1997-98, we lost the league to Arsenal. The next season, we won the treble. You can't get better unless you feel pain. And unless you lose and you feel this defeat and it hurts and stuff like that, you can't improve and you can learn from that. You can either take it, you can either be miserable, you can either cry about it and stuff like that. Or you can also say, okay, there we are. We've lost to Tottenham in the European final. It's embarrassing. We shouldn't be doing that. I'm embarrassed. You know, but next season, we're going to make sure that we absolutely rip it apart. We're Manchester United. We're the biggest club in the world. We're going to rip it apart. Absolutely rip it apart. And if I was INEOS, if I was the Glazers, this would be my mentality. You want to laugh at Manchester United. You want to make fun of Manchester United. Okay, let's do that then. Right? Let's do that. Well, let's see this summer what you're going to be laughing at. Watch what we're going to do. That's what Man United need to do. Determine. Remember who we are. But are they going to do that? Are they going to take it? Are they going to look at that defeat? Are they going to think about how the fans feel? Are they going to think about the fans that slept at 3 o'clock in the morning in Bilbao waiting for their buses and their trains and their planes? Are they going to do that? The people who spend their hard-earned money coming from Japan and America and every 4 corners of the globe, are they going to do that? That's the question. Coco, I already said earlier in the season we sat 10 hard that we need to hit a rock bottom, and we have, and it sucks, but the only way is up. Coco, I think basically Ruben Amorim mentioned this, and obviously, of course, we didn't think it would be this bad, but then again, what is the difference between 15th and 16th? 14th and 15th? There's not much difference, is there, in the grand scheme of things? Yeah, you could say we came closer to the relegation zone and blah, 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 but we have reached rock bottom now, right? Okay, we've reached rock bottom. Now what do? Do we cry about it? Do we just stay here? Do we think, right, let's just stay here and cry about it? Or do we look forward and watch INEOS and watch the Glazers, and let's see what they do this summer? And then if obviously there's a protest on Sunday, Aston Villa game, there's a protest, and I hope it goes very, very well. Wish them all the best of luck. But if it comes to this time next season, and we haven't got, now it comes to the start of the season and we haven't got the players in that we want, and we haven't got the signings that we need, then obviously there's going to be an aggression, and that aggression needs to go up and up, and we need to raise the tempo a little bit, in my opinion, especially on INEOS. I'm happy for the actions that INEOS are doing by putting the whole squad in the market and release and agreed bidding players and cash out new players who will fit the Amorim system. Now, look, guys, I'm not one for selling young players. I don't believe in selling young players. I believe there's a lot of players in that squad that need to leave first. But obviously, we need to look at the asset, the price, the money that we're going to be losing in the Champions League now, because obviously we have INEOS in charge of the finances and stuff like that. So obviously, we're going to have to penny pinch because we got INEOS who are much more suited to owning Poundland than Manchester United. But it is what it is at the end of the day. We've got INEOS at the football club. So, at the end of the day, we have to sell some players, We have to feel pain for gain, and we have to sell some players to get some players in. Now, I'm at the point in my Manchester United supporting life. I supported this football club my whole life. I'm at the point right now where I don't really care about players now. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Manc born and bred. I don't care how many goals or how many assists you've had this season, how much improvement you've had. I don't care anymore. You failed this club. And you failed Ruben Amorim at the end, and that is what it is at the end of the day. Now, which players will I sell? I told you I would cash in on Bruno, but that doesn't mean I don't rate Bruno. It's the fact that Bruno's our most valuable asset, and Bruno we can get about 100 million for. So, what would you rather, guys? And let's be honest with ourselves. Would you rather Bruno sold and we can buy 3 top quality players with 120 odd million, or would you keep Bruno and just hope he does some more hero balls and he scores the odd goal here and there? What would you want? A rebuild should mean a rebuild, isn't it? We need a new goalkeeper. We need a new right wing back. We need a new midfielder. We need a new number 10 or 2. We need a striker. Guys, we need 2 strikers. We need a proper rebuild. And you know what? Anthony, Rashford, Shaw, Casemiro, Mount, Bruno, Rasmus, all these players need to go. Rasmus quite obviously isn't a quality. And speaking of Rasmus, I will tell you right now, Italian teams, including Inter Milan and Juventus, are interested in Rasmus. God only knows why, but they are interested in Rasmus. Inter Milan have deemed that Rasmus is a very, very high priority for them. They believe they can turn him into a very good striker, as well as Juventus. Juventus have already approached Man United about the availability of Rasmus and have also offered Vlahovic as an alternative, as a swap deal. Now, that's all well and good in regards to that deal, but why would they want to swap Vlahovic? What's wrong with Vlahovic? That's what I would say. That's the first thing I would say is, okay, but what's wrong with Vlahovic? Yeah, I mean, definitely massive clear out needed. Everybody needed it on the time, including Amorim. The fan base will not be patient enough to 10 games in the season. Got to be ruthless all round. I agree. We have to be ruthless. The players are the problem. The players have had so many chances. That's the thing. They've been there years. Ruben's been there 6 months. INEOS should assign every player that Amorim feels good in his system, and he will do wonders. Though what we fans forget, absolutely. And if people study the Sporting Lisbon model, And what happened with Sporting Lisbon? Sporting Lisbon going almost 20 years without a title and absolutely smashing it in the Champions League. I honestly think that Ruben Amorim he's won two leagues at Sporting Lisbon, would have won a third this season. I honestly think that he would have challenged in the Champions League with that team. That team was unbeaten under Ruben Amorim. I honestly think that he had that team ready, and I think he would have challenged. Don't be surprised he would have reached the final. United have been in relegation form for the last 6 months. Lucky for the bottom three. That was shy. Other season, it would be a disaster. Yeah, that's life, though, isn't it, Darren? Other seasons, we won the league. Oh, we had that many points in 95. You know, we would have won the league, you know, if we had that many points. You know, that's life at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? If I die, if I had wheels, I would be a bike. At the end of the day, do you know what I mean? That's life. You know what I mean? But it isn't it? They were bad. We were lucky. It's life, isn't it? You know, at the end of the day, if Bayern Munich didn't hit the crossbar against Man United and made it 2-0 at the Nou Camp in 1999, we wouldn't be talking about a treble. That's just, because you know what? Stefan Effenberg scored that the season before, but you know what I mean? It's just the way life is. The bottom line is that we've been absolutely rubbish. We've been poor. We've been awful. And what we have to do as a fan base is just hope that it gets better. And I really do hope so. ESPN hate our guts. Yeah, they hate us, mate. And Garnacho shouldn't be talking to ESPN, in my opinion. Morning, Sal. I saw a clip. I don't know if it's out of context, but a certain Man United channel basically said, Amorim, it's time to go because he didn't win the Europa League. I would tell all those people, and they're entitled to their opinion. This is a democracy. They're entitled to their opinion. But what I would say to those people who want Ruben Amorim out is understand that sacking managers has not been the solution for Man United for 13 years. What makes them think it's going to be the solution now? Because as far as I'm aware is that since Man United have been sacking managers, our form has been going down like this, not up, down. So that basically explains to you that sacking managers is not the answer. We've had every type of manager that we could possibly have. We've had serial winners. We've had the experience. We've had the young guns, the hipster manager. We've had the geniuses. You know, at the end of the day, we've had every single type of manager. What makes you think that any manager is going to come into this football club and turn a Manchester United team minus how many goals, minus 50 goals to plus 50 goals? At the end of the day, you're calling for the manager's head who hasn't had a transfer window. Let's be real, guys. Hasn't had a transfer window, and they're already calling for his head. It's insanity at best. It's ridiculous. Stupid. You know what I mean? And I would just call them naive, lack ball knowledge. Listen, I'm not saying that everyone is invincible. That is absolutely, not true. All right? I'm talking about give the guy a bloody chance. You know what I mean? Get him his team. This team is not his team. You cannot turn Peter Crouch into Ronaldinho. No matter how much you try, you cannot turn Peter Crouch into Ronaldinho. You know, you can train him and train him and train him. Oh, but he's not getting the best out of these players. Maybe this is the best that they can do. Maybe this is the best that they can do. Maybe this team, it has done their best, but they're just not good enough. Why don't we look at that? You know? At the end of the day, people don't look at things in a context. They look at things from their own narrative. They just look at things because their opinion is their opinion, and they're not going to change it. But let me tell these people, Ruben Amorim's going nowhere. Ruben Amorim's going nowhere. So what you need to do as a fan is support this football team. If you do support the football team, because in my opinion, and it's a tragic opinion, but in my opinion, many of those people who are calling for Ruben Amorim out wanted Ruben Amorim out before because they're egotistical. They're not going to change their opinion. They wanted Ruben out before, right? And, this is what they, at the end of the day, they just wanted to, they just want to be right. That's it. They don't care about the repercussions of what's going to happen if we sack Ruben Amorim, how much it's going to cost, bringing another manager in, Now, people are talking about, right, you know what, if Ruben Amorim doesn't deserve a summer window, why doesn't Ruben Amorim deserve a summer window? Why not? We brought this manager in with a distinct style of play now, so let's see what he can do. Let's give him the players he wants, right? Let's do that, right? What about if we sack Ruben Amorim and we bring another manager in, right? And he gets the players that fit his system. Imagine he fouls. Then what? Then what? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's just ridiculous, isn't it? These people just need to be put on need a muzzle. They need a muzzle. That's what they need. They all need muzzles. Like a dog has a muzzle. That's what they need. A muzzle that has soundproofing. Absolutely. Do you think Amorim Garnacho relationship broken? I think Fabrizio said it. Yeah, it's broken, Shah. It's over. what Garnacho did was not right. Going to the media was not the right way to go about things. I've always believed that you don't air your dirty laundry online. I don't believe that. Whether Garnacho was right or wrong, I think he has a point in what he said, but I don't think that he should have went to the media to do it. And I would give you the same energy as I gave Sancho. I would give you the same energy as I've gave Marcus Rashford. This is the same energy, guys. I will give you the same energy. What Garnacho did there was wrong. He should have went to Ruben Amorim, to his face and said, "This is what it is, and this, and I'm not happy. I want to play. I don't think it's fair." And they could have worked it out between themselves. Talking to the media doesn't really work, does it? And if Garnacho wanted a transfer list to be on the transfer list, he could have said to Ruben Amorim, "I would like to be on the transfer list." That's it. Rather than going to the media, ESPN, who don't like us, of course, and stir the pot. He should have done that and been more smart about it. But it's immaturity. And as I said, it's culture at the football club. That is the problem, isn't it? Chow, what's going on? The ex-players are so contributing to this mess. They never speak publicly about the Glazers, and they are part of the problem. Absolutely, Chow. Chow is spot on here. Now, which one of those players there, those ex-players, Paul Scholes, apart from Rio Ferdinand, Paul Scholes, Wayne Rooney, Gary Neville, how many of those players before the final said, "Come on, United, let's go, United, we got this"? How many? How many did that? They love Man United, but none of them gave a rallying cry for Man United's cause. None of them, was shouting and screaming to the top of their lungs like we were. "Let's go, United, let's go, United, come on, let's do this." None of them were doing that. Do they want Man United to win? Do they actually want Man United to win, or do they just care about clicks and likes and licking the backside of Sky and things like that? Kenny, I'm hearing the fan base on YouTube. I was saying relegation going to solve the whole ownership problems, the state of this own fan base. Kenny, relegation is an absolute stupid opinion. Relegation will not solve Manchester United's issues. All that will happen if Man United got relegated to accumulate the money or retrieve the money that Man United would lose if they get relegated. All this ownership would do is sell the players and make money and bring in the youth players. That's all they would do. Man United would still sell 76,000 every single week. Man United would still sell jerseys every single week. Man United would still sell merchandise every single week. Man United will still be sustainable. This ownership don't care about Man United being relegated. In fact, Glazers don't even know what division we are in. So at the end of the day, what I would say, guys, if they don't even know what division they're in, I mean, you remember they own a NFL football team. So in NFL, teams don't get relegated. So obviously, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won't get relegated. They will just go down. There'll be drafts and stuff like that. But they probably don't even know there's a relegation in England. They probably don't know. So that means that they don't care. They don't care, about what division we're in, Championship or Premier League. As long as they're getting money. And they will get money from Man United regardless. They'll make their money somehow. They'll get that regeneration project. And what comes with a regeneration project? Infrastructure, franchises, business deals, hotels. This comes with a regeneration project, and that's all they care about at the end of the day. I don't think they really care. I mean, obviously they'll be like, "Oh, no, it's bad. We'll fight up, do our best to get back into the Premier League." That's what they do. But wanting Man United to get relegated basically means you don't support your football club. That's it. I lived in a town called Leighton in East London my whole life. I was born in Leytonstone in East London. And my local team was a team called Leyton Orient. They're in the playoff final at the weekend to get to the Championship, which is one below the Premier League. They could be playing Man United, right? According to all these other idiots. So Leyton Orient are in the Championship final against Charlton Athletic at the weekend. Now, I worked with Leyton Orient. I've done a lot of work with Leyton Orient, right? And being in League One, the Championship, League One, League Two is not a pretty thing. It's not a guarantee that you're going to get promoted. Playing on Tuesday nights on bobbly pitches, it's very difficult. Ask Leeds United. Leeds and Nottingham Forest got relegated. Look how long it took Leeds and Nottingham Forest to get back in the Premier League. Look, where are Sheffield Wednesday? Sheffield Wednesday were one of the biggest clubs in England. They won the FA Cup in 1990. Was it 1992? They won cups. They won trophies. Sheffield Wednesday. They were a big club. Where are they? Where have they been for the last 20 years? Oh, everyone would have thought that Sheffield Wednesday would get promoted again, right? Where's Middlesbrough? Where's Middlesbrough? I haven't seen Middlesbrough for a few years, right? Where is Middlesbrough? How long did it take Ipswich to get back into the Premier League? You know, these people, they just don't know what they're talking about. They're talking a lot of nonsense. Man United being relegated is one of the worst things that can happen to Man United, because Man United could go out of business. We won't have a football club to support. You know what I mean? I know teams like who have been Scarborough, who have gone out of business. I know teams like that. I've been in that division. I've been through that. I've seen it. These people don't know. Chester, great team like Chester, went out of business. These people just need to watch what they're saying, because what they're saying is dangerous and it has no context whatsoever. Big up, Kenny. We need to cancel game for Villa protest. Yeah, I'll be doing a watch along for that, Shah. Let's see if it goes ahead. We'll have to wait and see, of course. Big up. Okay, cancelling the game will make the panic, and that's the only way that's going to cancel them, and also charging, going against their businesses as well, targeting their businesses as well. That's what I would say. I couldn't care less about what Garner said, but if he cares more about his own brand than playing for the team, he must leave. Yeah. Well, he needs to play for his manager, doesn't he? INEOS lovers and supporters must apologise if the summer doesn't succeed, which is likely because of no European football and the owners don't want to put their own money in. Look, they have to. What INEOS have to do right now is that they have to spend way beyond what they're allowed to spend. Even if it risks us getting a fine, even if it risks us getting a points deduction, that's what they need to do. To prove to me, to prove to you what INEOS need to do, they need to go out there and make a statement. Stop this excuse about FFP and PSR. We'll take the hit. Go out there and make a statement. That's what they need to do. Show us that you mean business. Show us that you want success on the pitch and not just a regeneration project and a stadium named after you. Show us what you want. Show us that what you want success. Show us. Forget about the repercussions of a fine. Forget about points deductions. You know, forget about that. Just go out there and do your business. We're Manchester United. Man City is still in court. Nothing has happened to them yet. Let's go and do it. Let's do the business. Show us. Story. Your big favourite Mark gave Amma 1 point. Here, I agree with him. Poor management. Nothing tells me this is the man. Do not care what he did in Portugal. This is a different ship in a different sea. Your big favourite Mark. Story. Before you come with the sarcasm, mate. My big favourite is Manchester United, number one. Coming on here with that point, and he didn't say that. You're taking it out of context, by the way, at the end of the day. You blaming the manager, you know what I mean, proves a lack of IQ, story, which I'm surprised by you because you've been here quite a long time. Blaming the manager is not the way to go. The manager is not the problem. The manager made a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes in big games. Alex Ferguson did it loads of times in finals, right? Lost 9 finals, right? At the end of the day, what you have to do, right, is understand and look at the context. Sacking managers, what does that do? Is that improved us over the last 13 years? Has it? Has it improved us? It's gone like this, hasn't it? So sacking managers isn't the problem. So before you come with your little bit of sarcasm story, your little favourite, you know what I mean? Your favourite should be trying to make something of yourself rather than trying and come on there and being sarcastic about Mark Goldbridge and my favourite. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I come from a time before YouTube, right? Where I was working with G Unit, I was working with Eminem and people like that, mate, before YouTube. My favourite. Why don't you just hush them out a little bit, right? Rather than coming on with this little bit of this, that, and the other. Because at the end of the day, this implosive mannerism isn't going to work. You know what I mean? It isn't good. You can give your opinion about trying to be sarcastic and rude. Story. I mean, the story of a life, is what I just said. Sal, for some fans, context is illegal, if you know what I mean. Absolutely, Shah. Big up. Ibrahimovic was the best free signings post-Ferguson. Yeah. Post Alex Ferguson, I agree. Good morning, Ichichi. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're well. You will do watch along for the club FIFA. I'll wait and see, Lisa. Depends how I feel. I'm going to try and do one for the Champions League final. I'm going to do one. I might do one. Yeah, I might, just to keep you guys entertained. I might do that. Yeah, I might do the FIFA World Club. Yeah, I might do that. But I'm going to Qatar, and then I'm to do some work. watch this space, and I'm going to Italy to meet up some journalists in Italy. And then obviously I did last year. I did the same thing, and then we'll see. Wait and see if I can fit as many games as I can in there. That'd be great, of course. Chichi, Garnacho should not be sold. Let that guy play. What happens to Mount? Bello, Chichi, if you understand what Man United are, Man United are bigger than any player, regardless you play or not. Solskjaer, who was the Premier League's minute for goal ratio, the most highest scoring goal scorer in Man United's history, minutes per goal, right? Came on in the Champions League in 10 minutes to go and won us the Champions League. Did not moan, did not cry, did not go to media, etc. Why is Garnacho going to the media? Why don't he go to Ruben Amorim and say, Ruben, if I deserve to play, why didn't I play? Why is he going behind the back? That's culture at the football club, Ichichi. You know, that's the culture at the football club. And I would urge people to study what this football club means and the players that played for this football club in the past. I don't think 100 million from Bruno is going to buy us a quality players who do to our Premier League rivals anyway. It will, mate. Trina, it will. It will. It will. 100 million, if you don't think it'll buy us quality, it will. Absolutely will. Steve, big up, Steve. How you doing in terms of football IQ? Other managers in the Premier League seem to be able to adapt their formation without any problems. This team can't seem to learn only one formation. Low funny. Well, what do you blame that on, Steve? Because these players played a 4-3-3, didn't they, under Erik ten Hag? What did they do? You know, they had a minus goal difference. You know, this team had a license to underperform this season because they were concentrating on the Europa League because they can't do two tournaments at once. That's down to the players, you know. United have too much sentimentality with our players. We've got to get rid of unwanted once and for all. Absolutely. Absolutely. Breaking news, Man United are in talks with Delap. Not breaking news. It's been going on for a few weeks, Frere. What happens to Shaw? What happens to Onana? That should be sold. And Højlund too. Garnacho is much of a kid. There's very tendency this games that he will improve in the future. He needs to keep his mouth shut though, Chichi. And people know that. I'm going to treat Garnacho the same as I treated Sancho, the same as I treated Rashford. Keep your mouth shut. That's what I'll tell these players. And win on the pitch. We came 16th. And you were part of that. So you have no leg to stand on. I don't want to hear about moaning little players and player FC. I don't care what you're going to be in 5 years, hypothetically. I don't care. Respect the football club. Respect the fans. Respect your manager. That is how a football club should be run. You know? Instead of thinking about yourself, think about your team who's just lost. You know? The Glazers have taken too much from us now. It's time for them to show us that their loyalty to the club. Kasiki, good to see you, mate. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for joining the stream. Big up yourself. I agree, mate. Good comment. Delap incoming. Look, you know what I would say? Delap is one of those players that you sign with an experienced player. So you sign a Gutierrez and you sign a Delap. You know, I'm not saying that Delap, who has 12 goals, by the way, this season, which is more than a whole forward line. I'm not saying that Delap is going to be a very, very poor player. But what I would say is that Man United need experience. Many of the players in this Man United football team are greedy. They don't pass. They don't help the forwards at all. And I would say that how they're going to respect Liam Delap, I don't know. But it's them, isn't it? It's Wilcox and that. If they want Liam Delap, then their neck is on the line, isn't it? Their neck is on the line. They're the ones who are going to be, you know, held to ransom, isn't it? Held accountable. Not held to ransom. And Steve, it must be a cultural problem. Managers always adapting to the players, and when they want to, they change their style to be more attractive. Players wouldn't want to do that, then they down tools. Shah Alam, spot on, mate. Spot on. Absolutely spot on. Morning, Stephanie. Good morning, Joe Blackman. What's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're good. Good to see you, Joe Blackman. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're good. Thank you for the. There you go. All right. Echichi, Man United can convince Osman and then Gareth. Let's try, guys. Osman for me. Either way, Chichi, either way, I would love either one of those players. But what Man United need to do now is they have to be on their work and trying to get these deals done. Obviously, Gutierrez is favourite to go to Arsenal now that we're not in the Champions League, but Man United can change that. As Di Maria signed for Man United when we didn't have European football, it can happen, but you have to get to work. And if we were going to offer Gutierrez 200,000 a week, give him 250 grand a week and say, come to Man United. And, this is what we have to do. Unfortunately, we have to go rogue on the transfer market. We have to try and make things happen now. We have to convince players to come to us now. Whereas we could have just said, we're in the Champions League, we're Man United, Now we're saying that, we have to sell them a project, at the end of the day. We paid a lot of money for Wilcox, Brailsford, Barada, Vivel. We paid a lot of money for these people. So let them do their job, convince. That's what they're paid for. Absolutely. Big up, Steve. Big up, by the way. Big up everyone, of course. Big up everyone. Big up everyone, of course. Big up. Of course. Ruben Amorim is a special coach that he has specific kind of players to do wonders. This window would be Amorim window. But one thing I would urge people to understand is that I don't think people are quite listening. I was the first person to announce Dorgu on this channel, right? It won't get the recognition that it deserves. But Dorgu was an INEOS signing. It was not a Ruben Amorim signing, just to let you know. Dorgu and INEOS had a gentleman's agreement last summer in August, and it's there right there on my streams, right? I've been talking about Dorgu. When Erik ten Hag was in charge, that we were going to get him in January, right? So Dorgu is not an Amorim signing. So in reality, they have not backed Ruben Amorim at all. He has had no backing at all. So, you know what I mean? How can we expect miracles at the end of the day? Do you know what I mean? As I said many, many times, you cannot turn Peter Crouch into Ronaldinho. It doesn't work. If you want a winger, but if we got Peter Crouch and you want him to be a winger, he's not a winger. He's not going to do it, is he? He's not. At the end of the day, he's not that type of player. It's like putting Maguire on the wing. It's not going to do it. He's not that type of player, isn't it? He needs his players. Simple as that. Simple as that. Amorim is the man to guide us to glory. Just give him the tools and let's work. Big up, Leeson. Big up, Leeson. Sal, I barely even slept after Europa League final. Look, Kenny, what I would say is, Kenny, it's part of being a football fan, isn't it? One of my biggest regrets in my life is being a football fan. I know that sounds funny, but the addiction that you get for supporting a football club is both a blessing and a curse. Supporting Man United, there's no exception. Supporting Man United, I've witnessed many highs, great times. Some of the best times of my life have been because of Man United, right? But also some of the saddest days. Of course, there's more important things in life. There's more important things going on in the world. We know that. But I think it was, I've forgotten who it was who said that, but football's the most important thing of the unimportant things. And, when these things happen, they just make you stronger. And that's all I would say. And, I witnessed a lot of final losses, disappointments. I witnessed us losing a league title and an FA Cup in 1 week, I witnessed Champions League final defeats. I witnessed a lot of things that I thought, this is our year. Semi-final defeats, final defeats, and what we have to do is just carry on supporting our football club. And hopefully it will get better because the cream always rises to the top, Kenny. The cream will rise to the top. I'm pretty certain that the cream will rise to the top and Man United will get to where they go by hook or by crook. Ruben Amorim in or Ruben Amorim out. We will get to where we're going to go. I hope so. I have a feeling that will happen. I really do. Sure, it's a mess now, no doubt. Please, we all need all-round change, including a goalkeeper. I agree with that one. I agree. Come on, guys. Don't forget to smash the like, guys. Guys, please smash the like. It's so important that you smash a like because obviously it helps with the algorithms and stuff like that, guys. Guys on my Twitter who are just watching, please smash the like, guys. I'm telling you, please. Can you kindly smash the likes for me? That'd be absolutely fantastic if you guys can do that for me. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate that and stuff. I really appreciate that and stuff. Really appreciate you. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate that. Let me just write this tweet, guys. Cheers, guys. Just writing a tweet. When was the last time we had no European football? Was it under Moyes or LVG? I think it's under Moyes, mate. Yeah, it's under Moyes. It's just before we won the. It was the season we won the FA Cup, and Jesse Lingard scored, I believe. Yeah, against Crystal Palace. Under LVG, Charlan Moyes led us to 7th place that season before. Yeah, there you go. Smash the like, subscribe button. Thank you so much, Shah. Big up yourself. Bruno can go now. We need money, and no one knows because he loves Man United. Let Bruno do it for United. We need the money, and absolutely, it's called a sacrificial lamb, Ichichi, isn't it? It's a sacrificial lamb, and sometimes you have to make sacrifices. Just as long as it's not your soul, you have to make sacrifices in life. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, and 120 odd million for Bruno, guys. What can we get with 120 odd million pounds? You know it, innit? Buy 3 players with that. If all the money goes towards transfers, yeah. That is the biggest worry. It doesn't go towards transfers and stuff. Sal, is there any experienced striker we can get instead of Delap, despite no European football? There's loads, mate. Man United will surprise some people this season. Let me tell you. Let me tell you, Shah, right now. And you guys can quote me on this. Man United will sign some players you don't expect us to sign. And I'm going out on a limb here. We need a proper rebuild. Perfect time to sell Bruno. I agree. He hasn't been good recently. I mean, he was only good after the Roy Keane incident. That was the only time he was good. Why don't Juventus swap Douglas Luiz for Haaland? We do the midfielder since getting there. Good point. The thing with swap deals are always notoriously difficult to do because obviously 2 agents are involved in the deals and money gets swapped hands a lot. So obviously it's a difficult thing to do, but it's not impossible. All the questionable at Man United now coach players, owners, and 6 months shithousery special owners. Wow, that deal is very interesting. Why swap Vlahovic for Haaland? I just feel something is fishy. Yeah, why would they do that? I look at Vlahovic. Vlahovic is a very prolific striker, especially for Serbia. Scored a lot of goals. But what is the true reason why they want to get rid of Vlahovic here? For Rasmus. I mean, come on. I mean, anyone in their right mind. You know what I mean? What's going on there? Freya, we should all remember that Amram changed Sporting Lisbon using no one transfer. Exactly, Freya. Spot on. Good morning, Ephraim. What's going on? Can we attack the sponsorships? This will be the chance to do it. We will not get in. The thing to attack is the regeneration project. Make sure that regeneration project is rejected and attack the sponsors. Exactly. I think we're getting 120 million for Bruno and 60 for Ghana. We can cash in and construct a solid world-class. We can construct with that, GK. We can construct a solid attacking unit. You know what we don't have. What's the biggest problem that Man United have right now? Attacking. I think the goalkeeper is as well. Big problem. And attacking. If we have fixed our attack with 3 top signings up front, and then we get the goalkeeper sorted out, right? Maybe get Edison in there as well. You know, start looking a little bit more Bella, wouldn't it? Shah, I don't mind sending Bruno 120 million. Would that money go to transfers onto the... Absolutely, this is the biggest question that we have. The $1 million question, as they say. The $1 billion question, as they say. You know, will the money go into the Glazers' pockets or will it go on the team? And that's what I'm saying. We could sell Bruno, but is that money going to go towards the team? I would sell Bruno. I would cash in. 31 years old. Cash in. Alex Ferguson would have done the same. Cash in. And hopefully we know now, and we have to keep our eyes open, how much money we have. They're not going to tell you how much money we have. They're not going to tell you about how much money we made for the Europa League final or how much money we're going to make for finishing 16th or 17th. They won't tell you that. Sacking manager talks won't be accepted because the Mainu, Maguire, Twilight, Bruno form, you can't win anything. Mazraoui's been brilliant this season. Mainu, I wouldn't talk about Mainu too much. I don't know what's going on with Mainu, but he was brilliant in his first season. I don't know why you're mentioning Mazraoui, Maguire, and Mainu. Maguire's not a culprit for that. Our biggest problem is scoring goals. You know, you got to look at Bruno. You got to look at Rasmus. You know, you got to look at Ahmad. You got to look at these players who, you know, who are doing the creative side of things. You know what I mean? I don't know why Mazraoui has been one of the signings of the season. You know, he's been one of the signings of the seasons. He's played every single game, you know what I mean, for us when he's been fasting and things like that. Bad comment, GK. Come on, man. He cannot polish a turd with this team. Absolutely, as a wise man says, absolutely. Brendan, what's going on? I think fans don't realise that people that work for Man United, including the players, also follow social media and it affects them. They need to be stronger then, don't they? They need to be stronger. Please, Amram is not... If you can't take social media, you know what I mean? You see the abuse that I've had, and I don't get 300,000 a week. Please, Amram is not yet supposed to be judged. Why don't relate to the Klopp's first season? Ichichi, you make a very intelligent point. But unfortunately, people are not intelligent. That's it. You know what I mean? That's what I would say. Don't say Amram. This is a proper season for Amram now. Please let him give him time. It's absolutely good comments, Ichichi. I 100% agree with you and concur. Absolutely. I don't even have the energy anymore to discuss future managers. Absolutely. Who are we going to get? Ashford told INEOS not to hire Amram because he would require a new squad. INEOS should have backed Amram to get a new squad or get a manager that suits the limited squad. No, what they should have done is done what Ruben Amram said for them to do and let him come in the summer. That's what they should have done. They should have let him come in the summer, give Ruud van Nistelrooy to the end of the season, and let Ruben Amram come in the summer, give Ruben Amram a window. But then we can also say that a lot of what has happened this season, Ruben Amram wouldn't have known next season. So Ruben Amram now knows the poisonous apples in that dressing room, doesn't he? He now knows who's the poisonous apples. Whereas if he started next season, he wouldn't have known that. And that goes with every single manager. Ruben's a great manager, a good manager, a future generational manager. You know, let's not make it another thing where another manager comes to Man United, another manager fails because of our toxic environment. You know? Absolutely. We really need Qatar to reset the whole club from pot to bottom. Instead, we got Jimmy Boy, absolutely, because Manchester will have British passport. Sal, do you trust INEOS to make the right decisions? I don't trust anyone at the moment, Ephraim, no. I hope. It's more hope than anything. Big up, Gray. What's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well, brother. I hope you're well. Looking forward to seeing you. The Deadwood going. Total rebuild needed. Absolutely, bruv. Absolutely. Spot on, Gray, as usual. Patrice Evra did it. Give support to the player. Only Patrice Evra. Yeah, only. Evra gave it a United shout out to win the trophy, and I guess Evra missed the finals because of his cyst. Yeah, funeral burial cancer. Yeah, I know that. Chi-Chi. Heard that about 20 times now, but yeah, I know about Evra. I've already mentioned on the show. Morning, everyone. Is Franco bound for PSG? Real Madrid or PSG at the moment? Man United are trying. Sal, if you have to choose from fan ownership and rich owners, who you want? Rich owners, because that is the environment that we live in at the moment. Sorry, Ephraim. To get Man United successful, that's the environment we are. Absolutely. Instead of relegation, we can do something in our hand. I don't want to hear that word relegation. I'm tired of that relegation. It didn't take Ipswich long to go back. Ipswich took them a long time, mate. When they got relegated in 1996 or something like that, look how long it took them to get back in the Premier League. Yeah, it took them a few years. But relegation is just a dumb point. I will say it. Dumb. Only dumb say relegation is going to be good for Man United. Sorry. Whoever wants relegation. Morning, EC. How you doing? Sell Bruno the overrated clown, please. Columbus, big up yourself. We have to give managers at least 2 years to know where they are. I agree. The Chichi second manager hasn't helped United over the years. Let us allow a particular manager exhibit his plans fully. Amram is young and will even get better. Absolutely. I agree with that, Chichi. Good one. When you go to Qatar, find Sheikh Jassim, mate. I will do, mate. I will do. Watch this space. Whoever disrespected United has no place here. Absolutely. 51, 286. Come on, guys. Let's get to 60 likes. Thank you so much. Thank you. Emmanuel Will doesn't have to do much to improve. 15th place would be an improvement. Yeah, but, let's be smart here. Let's talk about, Man United and what we need to do next season. We know that 15th place is going to be, come on. All Garnacho needs is a money-making contract from other clubs and less scrutiny. Garnacho needs to keep his mouth shut. That's all he needs to do. So how many players now is going to take for Amram assistant to work? Is INEOS going to authorize 7-8 new players? Probably not Amram, probably not Almac. But what I would say is that I'm expecting about 6 players in, and that should be enough to improve Almac. 5-6 players should be enough to improve that team. When you think about signings, right? It's not just about signing 10, 15 players. It's not like that. Alex Ferguson brought in Robin Van Persie, won us the league. Suarez almost single-handedly won Liverpool the league. It takes... Ronaldo dragged Man United to titles. The thing is, right, is you need a quality player up front. You need someone who can make that difference. Someone who can add the spark to the team. It's not just about signing 7-8 players. It's about signing the right players who are going to make a difference. Man United against Tottenham were a good striker away from a completely different vibe right now. You know what I mean? They dominated the game, realistically, but we couldn't put the ball in the net. We were toothless. They had a goal cleared off the line. If that went a little bit 2 inches higher, we're singing from a different hymn sheet here, isn't it? We are not living in a Disneyland. We cannot change managers to all time. Give it absolutely, Ephraim. Absolutely. Sal's putting a consortium together in Qatar, hopefully by United. My goodness me, if I had half their money, I would have done it by now. If I had the money, I'd buy Man United, Darren, 100%. Would you say that Garnacho is a part of the power, basically thinking they are better than they are? Is a learn from behavior from? Regardless of his talent, Shah. Regardless of his talent. I just don't think players should be airing their dirty laundry in public, especially players who have contributed to one of our worst seasons in our history. I don't believe that they should be airing the dirty laundry. If they got a problem, whether I agree with them or not, if they got a problem, they need to go to the manager and speak to the manager, not cry to media, especially ESPN. We care about players who want to play for United. Who cares about the club who perform consistently well? Does anyone price raise if we Champions League beat Chelsea? Does Anthony's price raise if he makes 10 million a goal, 10 million assist? Absolutely. We have no alternative than to sign to that now. Maybe Benjamin Sesko. The blonde Ken, though, is protecting his own image. The guy hasn't learned from his past social media mistake. This is Bruno's fault too. What kind of captain allows an attitude? And Bruno said, if they want me to go, let me go. That's not a captain talking for me. That's the wrong thing. Absolutely. I'd buy Pedro Goncalves for that position. Big up, CT. How are you doing? I'd get Ait Nouri as a Dogu is young. Also, Douglas. Don't forget we got Diego Leon coming in. Diego Leon is exceptionally good, guys. I'll tell you that right now. CMG and Martinez instead of Onana. Or maybe we could go for Oblak, Jonathan David. Yeah, we need an experienced goalkeeper. Big up, CT. I hope you're well. How much really can we make from selling Rashford? Probably about 20 million, 30 million. He's got money coming in for his contract as well, hasn't he? Johnny, what's going on, my friend? Are we doing well? United look like a Lucas Stanson, a Batarona, goodness me, Cherky, Yusuf, Akacek, Jan Jimenez. Sorry, I don't get the spelling. Sorry, but passion and cheap. No point spending another fortune. Yeah, it's whether they want to come, though, isn't it? It's like Mastantuano, isn't it, Johnny? It's whether they want to come. Absolutely. Taiwo, in as much as we need to sell players, Amran may be a good coach, but a bad manager. His system is slow, boring, and predictable. Can't work in EPL. Taiwo, I disagree with that, but that's your opinion. I disagree. I've seen it work in the Champions League, so it can work in the Premier League, for goodness sake. There's some poor teams in the Premier League. It's the players. Yes, Sal, 2014, we still Falcao and Di Maria. Also, people don't understand that these players down tall. It's a culture at the football club. Culture at the football club. They don't really understand it. I know some people were brought up in countries where they didn't watch football, so they don't really understand football properly. Some people just started watching football recently, so they don't really understand football, about ins and outs of football and the context. And that's no offense. That's not your fault. My country, my dad's country, they play cricket. They don't know nothing about football. So at the end of the day, I think that some people need to study football, and understand ins and outs and context, of what goes on and what it takes to be successful. Because I was there, Alex Ferguson, before he was successful, and lots of people said, oh, get him out. You know what I mean? Shah, they better be no Barada madness this summer. Walking like a boss. Would you like Pogba to come back a free agent? No, absolutely not. Good emotional. Alone player. American can get glory, but let's be honest, not emotional. We're not emotional, mate. We're factual, mate. What's the facts here? Sacking managers. What has it done? Taiwo. Stream. Taiwo. Let's tell Tyro. What's happened every time we sacked a manager? Performances dip. That's not emotional. That's factual. Every time we sack a manager, we dip. It's factual. That's what we do. What's the overriding fact at Man United right now? The Glazers. INEOS. Culture affects the whole environment, resonates down. I know it's probably a little bit smart for you, Taiwo, but you know what? It does. It is the truth. Just study it. Big up, Bo Hatten. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Can't read that. Sorry. I don't know. It's written in a different. Even not in the Champions League, we always track big names. Absolutely, we tracked Di Maria without Champions League football. I understand the agony among us United fans like Kenny. I was distressed after the match, but I accepted fate. See the situation at the club. Good morning, Randy. How you doing? Taiwo, I understand you. Yes, your subjective opinion, but you know what? You're not looking at the context. You're looking at things at the end of the day. Flexible tactics, Taiwo, he does have flexible tactics. He just refused to look at it. These players played with 4-3-3 and flopped. You know what I mean? And they play under 4-4-2 and flopped. At the end of the day, they'll keep flopping. People, damn right, Sal. Ups and downs. Also, that Andy Cole, Sal, never lost any final. Mad, isn't it? I'm sick of managers getting sacked because of shit players. Me too, Randy. Me too. We were there. I thought that when Eric Ten Hag was sacked, I thought that any manager would get a tune out of these players. Exactly. INEOS players except Martinez and Ahmad must be sold. 120 million can do things. I say 3 world-class players. Juventus wants to dump Vlahovic because his wages are ridiculous. Yeah, we don't want him then. Vlahovic is an injury-prone player as well. There you go, Leeson. Jonathan David is a massive good QS also, but why are no teams CT after Jonathan Davis? What's the real reason here for free? Agree, we need attackers, a keeper, fuck midfielders. We do need goals win games. Big up Sal, getting through a lot of comments today. Big up Darren, big up yourself, love brother. Sal, what is your expectation for next year? I say top 8. I think we're going to finish higher than that. Quote me on that if you want later on. Players lost under Ruben Amorim's system. Manager's shadow now. No players improved under that. Have you seen Sporting Lisbon? How many players he's made at Sporting Lisbon? Maybe we need to look at the fact that Mainu wants a new contract. Maybe we need to look at the fact that Mainu rejected a new contract at Man United. Maybe we need to look at that. Maybe he needs to look at himself. Maybe he needs to take accountability. Maybe he needs to do that. Maybe he needs to stop looking at Amorim and stop going into the dumb IQ thing. Taiwo. At the end of the day. Taiwo, Hearts of Oak are looking for fans, right? Hearts of Oak, they're looking for fans. Go and support them, not our club. Get lost. Vanderson would be a good backup as we have injury prone. Absolutely. Sal, what I think is INEOS should sell one of from the defense. They should look at reinforce us from the midfield to the attacking. I agree with that. We need the midfield, need a new midfield as well. And he's not going anywhere. Amorim is not going anywhere, so stop crying. INEOS has a good summer all preseason. INEOS players except Martinez, Ahmed must be sold. I think I read that one. Big up. I will be 25 this month. Sal, 13 years seeing absolute career circus. I'm sorry, mate. I'm glad I witnessed everything. I'm done with being emotional. You're not being emotional, mate. I've just given you facts, Taiwo, and you're not listening to the facts. So what you're doing right now is you're messaging to respond, not for facts. I've given you the facts. You ain't responding with the facts. At the end of the day, you're responding with emotion. You've made your choice. You're not looking at 6 months. So maybe you should take your own advice and stop being emotional about the manager and look at things in context. Look at above. Look at INEOS. Look at the Glazers. Look at the players. Look at that. Look at the history. Look at that. You are being emotional. I'm giving you facts right here. I'm giving you stats, right? I'm giving you that. So if you can't understand that, I feel sorry for you, mate. United should buy Turkey and sell Bruno. Big up Musa. We got a player called Musa in the reserves, by the way. I think he's going to be a star. If all INEOS players are sold, we can keep them responsible. Yeah. Next Premier League season will start 16th of August, quite far away. We've got time. You've got time because of the World Club Championship as well. Absolutely. If it took Championship a long time, yeah, it did. And they're back in the Championship, as Darren says. Sal, there is 2 transfer windows coming soon. I said that, earlier on. Absolutely, I know, 1st of June to the 10th, and then after that, I think it's July. Ipswich were relegated all the way back in 1901 and then promoted to Premier League last season. There you go. Actually, they got relegated in 1996 Triple M because we beat Ipswich 9-0 in 1995. So they got relegated in 1991, promoted in 1995, relegated in 1996. They went to the UEFA Cup. They played in the UEFA Cup, and then they got relegated. I think they were the only team in the Championship to play in the UEFA Cup. I think if I was something like that, quantity over quantity, absolutely. Amrad is interested in Arsenal and Liverpool. Let him go if he wants to go. Not too bothered anymore. We've got 80 plus likes, Al. Big up, Shah. Big up, everyone. Thank you, guys. Discord, big up. Sell Bruno 120, a lot of money. Bring in the money, of course, guys. Bring in the money. Shalom, we try and get 100 likes, people. Smash the likes, thank you so much. Big up the channel, smash the likes, thank you so much, guys. Big up, man. Big up, CT. Good comment, CT. Thank you so much. Bring on Rashford back, and then I'm not going to accept any Ruben Amorim out crap on here. Not on this channel. You can have your opinion, but I'm not going to accept it because I'm allergic to bullshit. I'm allergic to it. I can't take the same thing, the circle going round and round that I warn people about Erik ten Hag. I warn what happened if we sack him. I warn people. I cannot take this circus. I know our new stadium looks like a circus, but let's not turn like a circus on the pitch. Let's not start saying Ruben Amorim out so early after 6 months. Let's not do that. Just shows a lack of intelligence, man. Honest to God. And it drives me insane. It drives me insane because I think these people who are calling for Amorim's head now are just as bad as what's going on at the top of the football club. I honestly do. We do not have to be soft for players. We have to make accountable state. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Absolutely. Tyborg belted. Where's Tyborg? GK, where's Tyborg? There was an article yesterday in Daily Mail basically saying they don't understand what Amorim believes so much in his system and approach. Let them talk, mate. He's not going anywhere, so they can cry more. Weren't these same players couldn't perform in a back four and moaned about Ten Hag's system? The same players who moaned about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and his schoolboy tactics, and the same players who moaned about going home in the dark. You know, that's what I'm saying. Even if we don't sign any defenders, it's fine. We need a goalkeeper who can confidence them. I agree. We need Amorim's players in before we judge them. Absolutely. It would be nice if we have Cunha for the post-preseason matches. I think we'll have him on the 1st of June, Gladiator. 1st of June. Remember that. We should not take long to dealing with the transfers. I agree. Kenny, Rashford should be sold. I don't care. Just sell him. I agree. I agree as well. Amorim won't be sacked anyway, so people are moaning for no reason. Absolutely. Guys, I want to thank everyone for joining me today. Thank you very much. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new. And please don't forget to smash a like on the video if you can kindly do that for me. That'd be absolutely fantastic, guys. I may be back later on. I might not. I'm going out. But please put on your notifications when I go live. You'll know firsthand, of course. Cheers, Darren. You'll know firsthand, of course. But have a great day, guys. Much love to you all. Appreciate you all. And I'll see you later. Bring on Aston Villa. Have a good one, guys. Peace.